Hi everyone, welcome back to My Parenting Way. When you are a first-time mum, nothing prepares you for the shock of having a newborn. When I was pregnant with the second time round with my son Aidan, I knew I had to put measures in place to prevent me going back to that dark place again. So here are some simple ways of protecting your mental health if you have a newborn that doesn't involve taking up yoga or doing meditation or taking long hot baths or long walks. And although all of these are very useful tools in helping your mental health, sometimes they can be a little bit impractical when you have a newborn. So number one, see people if you want to see people and don't see them when you don't want to see them. This can sometimes be easier said than done because there's a lot of pressure on women to go and meet other mums and do things when you have a baby because they say this actually improves your mental health. And in some ways, yes, it does. But making the conscious decision on not seeing people when you do not feel like seeing people actually can do wonders for your own mental health. And as awkward as this might be, this does include family because sometimes you just don't want to see anyone. You haven't had a shower for 3 days, you've slept 2 hours the night before, and all you want to do is sit on your bum with your baby and not do much. And it's okay to admit that to yourself. And once you do, actually, it's quite a freeing feeling. And by saying no, sometimes you're doing yourself a huge favor. On the flip side of that, if you manage to get your hair washed or do your nails, or you feel really, really positive, then getting out and texting a friend and saying, do you fancy grabbing a coffee, can do wonders for your mental health. Leading on to this, if you do manage to make some mummy friends, take them with a huge pinch of salt. Remember that the only thing that you actually have in common with these people is that you pushed a tiny human out of your vagina. Sometimes their company can be a little tedious, especially if you get that mum that loves to compare your baby with theirs. Again, that can be quite damaging for your mental health. So when it comes to making mummy friends, just take it for what it is. Keep the ones that you get on with really close and just use it as an excuse to get out of the house for a coffee. Next one, if you can't breastfeed, don't. So this is a difficult one as there's still so much stigma around bottle feeding and there's so much pressure for women to breastfeed. But I will tell you this now. I have known women who have been able to breastfeed and got depressed about breastfeeding, and I have known women who have bottle fed and got depressed about not being able to breastfeed. The choice of whether or not you breastfeed should be taken as lightly as you picking which nappy brand to put your child in. As long as the baby is safe, happy, and it gets the job done, no one should give a shit. Next, take the little wins as big wins. Now, I learned to do this pretty quickly with having my first, but instead of putting pressure on myself that I should be doing certain things like having a shower or I should be doing the washing, instead I then flipped this around. And actually, if I managed to do these things, I would take them as huge achievements for the day. At the end of every day, I would look back over the day and take the really minute, menial little tasks that I've done and then really big them up to make myself feel better. My favourites included emptying the dishwasher, cutting my fingernails, cutting baby's fingernails, a big achievement, and emptying the bin. It got to the point where I'd actually say this kind of thing to my husband and he would look at me as if I was crazy, but I felt better about it, so that's the main thing. Next, take time to go outside. And I am not talking about going outside and doing exercise. I am just literally talking about being outside. Being outside lowers your stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline, and it actually releases good ones such as serotonin and endorphins, which actually relax you. So get outside. The extra light exposure for your baby also releases melatonin, which helps for a really good day-night sleep cycle. Next, buy some noise-cancelling wireless headphones. So my husband bought me these as a push present when I was in labour with Aiden. And honestly, I would say that these have to be one of the best presents I've ever received in my entire life. They have really made a world of difference to my parenting and getting through my everyday with my son. Hearing a baby cry constantly for hours on end, especially if they have colic, can release those horrible stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline that I mentioned earlier, which then make you more stressed. And if the baby senses this, then they get stressed and then you get more stressed, and it can be a really horrible cycle for you to be in. With noise cancelling headphones, you can pop a funny comical podcast on, or some nice relaxing music, or some angry music if you wanted to. But regardless, what this does is it takes your brain away and basically takes a focus away from that screaming baby. And it's amazing how much of a relief that can be when you separate it and that you can't hear that anymore. I'm not saying abandon the baby. I'm just saying do what you need to do with the baby. Change that nappy, give them a burp, try and feed them. But just when you have noise cancelling headphones with music playing or something in your ear, it really can relax you, and it makes a world of difference to your everyday. Take people's baby advice and chuck it in the bin. Even if you ask for certain advice, ultimately it's about what's best for you and baby, and it's up to you whether or not you use the advice that you read or that you were given or not. Nobody should be judging you otherwise. Do something every day that cheers you up. Paint your toenails, grab that latte from your favourite cafe, watch that 6th episode of Sex and the City. It doesn't matter. If you're having a lousy day, take that one thing and do it. For me, it was grabbing the most disgusting, sugary, large coffee from Starbucks and walking around the park with Emily. And actually, it was those little things I was looking forward to every day, and it became a little ritual. And I found that having that little thing just to look forward to somehow made the day better. And no matter how hard it was in all other aspects, I had that little thing that was just me, and I loved it. Don't presume that people know what's going on in your head, which can be really difficult when you're so sleep deprived and you haven't spoken to another human being other than a baby all day. But if you need your partner to do a few extra loads of washing per week, or even just tell your own mum just to give you a text and ask you if you're okay, or just text a friend saying, God, this is flipping hard, isn't it? Communicate. It really does make the world a difference. Celebrate your body. Change the way that you talk about your own body now that you have had a baby. Talk about what your body is able to achieve rather than what it's no longer able to do. Very simple changes in the way that you talk about your body can promote a positive growth mindset about it rather than a fixed negative one. For example, I have had 2 C-sections, one planned and one emergency. And for a long time after this, I felt really low about not being able to have a natural birth. But now, when I talk about my birth, I have changed narrative. So now I say I have had 2 successful abdominal births rather than my body let me down and I was unable and failed to have a natural birth. Simple ways of using different language around yourself and your abilities and your body can make a massive difference. Make peace with the regret. So what do I mean by this? So at some point around anywhere between 3 and 6 months, usually, it can be before, it can be after, but you may look at yourself in the mirror or turn to your partner and either think or say the words, I regret having this baby. This is normal. The overwhelming shock of having a baby will make you question whether or not you have made the right choice in having one. And this is normal. For me, This was around 3 months in with my daughter Emily. I was stood on the stairs with my husband. We were looking at each other and she was screaming downstairs. I think it must have been around the 3 hour mark that she was screaming. And I actually said the words, "I regret having her." She is now 4.5 and she is incredible. And thankfully, those feelings did not stick around for too long, but I had them and it is normal. If you do have similar feelings, they do come and go, and this is fine. If they do stick around for a little bit longer, it's again not a problem. Just acknowledge your feelings. Just don't give yourself a hard time and just ask for help. And this is the best thing you can do. I will put a few charities that I found really useful in the comments below, and I really hope you use them if you are struggling. Remember, having a baby is really hard. Please get the support you need and look after your mental health. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please follow me on Instagram on My Parenting Way, and I hope to see you next time.